If we're going to do it, we might as well do it properly and do it in a big way, because although it'll be the hardest work, it'll also be the one that, you know, gets the most attention if we pull it off.
The goal, you know, primarily for me is to make a great film.
We do believe that the film could get theatrical release.
Any good attention Sleaford receives is great, because Sleaford is a growing town. It's a growing kind of art centre of Lincolnshire.
There's some wonderful duality about this county. You know, it's a very nice place and, you know, very quiet, very peaceful, but at the same time there is always this sort of darkness and apathy and depression in the background, which works well for telling stories.
It's sort of my philosophy to, you know, to work with what's around me. So, you know, instead of looking around and thinking there's no opportunity around and, you know, everything is too difficult, to, you know, to see it as an opportunity and to make the most of what's around me. So, you know, in terms of, you know, my philosophy of filmmaking, that's how I've always worked, really.
I think perhaps it'd be a good idea to designate one part of the hub to filmmaking, so we can gain a sort of a more growing interest in the community in film instead of just craft.
The film is basically a psychological thriller. It's a detective story about a private detective. Ultimately, it's a story of redemption, really. It's stylistically going to be reminiscent of sort of a combination of the look of Sin City with sort of a more theatrical look, sort of like German expressionist cinema, things like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and things like that. It is a Christmas film in a very dark sense of the word.
In fact, it's a bit of a resampling of A Christmas Carol, you know, taking an interesting approach with the film, not making, you know, a straightforward remake of a film, but as you get with lots of songs these days, they take, you know, musical phrases and, you know, incorporate them into, you know, a new song. And in some ways, that's kind of what we're doing with this film. How I go about writing, I always find that it's best to sort of cut the rest of the world out and sort of go within, essentially, and so there's, you know, no distractions, and sort of, you know, get in touch with true inspiration.
As a producer, the main special skill you need is patience. You have to be able to deal with people in quite stressful situations. You have to be the sort of good cop and bad cop, you know, keep things going no matter what happens, and the ability to roll with the punches, as it were. I thought that being the producer would limit the creative input. I mean, on previous projects I've been a writer and actor. On short films I've directed a lot. But to be honest, there is still a lot of creative input in terms that you play a big part in casting, which affects the overall, you know, dynamic of the film.
Certainly, in terms of actors, we're going to pull from, you know, the actors around us locally, and, you know, hopefully get a lot of those involved, because the script does require a lot of actors. You can never make a film for free, but anything we do have to, you know, finance, then it essentially will come out of our own pockets. All of, you know, the production team, they're working on this because essentially they want to work on it. We have done a bit of a test video where we spent a day in a green screen studio, and we shot one of the scenes from the script, just to, you know, see if it was feasible, what we wanted to achieve, and to, you know, get an idea of how the film was going to ultimately look, and to also be able to demonstrate that look to everyone. Spatially, in a green screen studio, it's sort of, you know, an odd way of making a film, because you can be in any space, you know, you want. So, you know, people can, you know, move about and still be in the same space in the you know, final film. So storyboarding was very important, and in fact with this film we're going to essentially have to storyboard the entire film, and I can't draw for shit, so I'm going to be getting somebody else to storyboard for me.